Because I don't know if you saw the other video clip that I sent you, which is like bicycle racing. And the thing that we're trying to do is, if you heard how the commentator is talking, it's not really commentating, it's actually telling a story.
Right.
And that's, so as the music's changing, we want someone to be able to narrate that.
Right.
Being able to narrate how he might have been feeling, what was he thinking, what's the environment. We want to be able to make the viewer feel what you feel.
Right.
You kind of get me? Now also, Earl and Larry, they're going to be doing the traditional type commentary, so some of the shit's going to go to what's that, when you get there. And then this first going to be like a narrowed down, a condensed version of all of that. Basically, it's going to be like a music video. And it's to, also, is that realistic? No, because that's the motorbike near the race.
What do you mean,
it's the pace per mile, minutes per mile.
Typically coming out, we were doing 5:20 per mile.
Okay, so that's realistic. So at this point right here, what were you thinking? Like as you was catching Tyler up?
Okay, at the early stages, as far as time was concerned, I wanted to go out.
So like right there.
This was approximately just after 2 miles. So I was thinking, okay, I just want to be exactly in time. I want to be maybe around 10:45, 10:50, which is, 5:25 per mile.
Okay.
And it's a causeway, so the first thing you don't want to do is go out too fast and reflect. Because at the beginning of, let's say, mile 3, you're going to encounter your first group of hills. And I say group of hills because it's Blue Hill Hill followed by Fracture Street Hill. So you don't want to sort of use up too much energy in the early stages on the flat, where it's sort of, you think, okay, this is some feeling good, it's nice, because that's 3 miles of pure flat. And that's probably the longest 3 miles of flat that you're going to get in any local race, because most races have all these hills. So coming across the causeway was definitely a good reception from as far as the spectators are concerned, because typically coming out of the west, you're not going to get such a large crowd that early. The first large crowd you're going to get would be more like Barnes Corner, which is just after 4 miles, whereas this is a mile and a half, a mile and 3/4 of a very vibrant crowd, like the roundabout, I believe, I want to say number 1 gate or Kinley Field, Kinley Road.
Right.
That roundabout is very vibrant. It's, a couple hundred easy coming across the stretch of the course.
And how did when you was actually there, going through that crowd, how did that make you feel?
It's all new. It's basically like that first day of school feeling, like where you're thinking, okay, well, I've never encountered this course. It's exciting. You don't know where the crowd's going to be, because I stayed at, I was actually housed at St. George's Club. So I literally woke up, got out of bed, went to the line, stretched, warmed up, and raced. And that was the good thing about that. That was the whole point, not to get in, so I wouldn't have to wake up as early, go through traffic, and, just stay right at the club, walk out to the stress. Yeah, that was it,
Okay. And as you were obviously right here, because on the other camera I had Tali in my sight. Was there any thoughts of like Tali's in front of you, where you like what was going through your mind? Because I know when I'm bicycle racing, someone's in my mind. That's like that's a target. That's what I'm doing.
At that point, typically you may not have so much as targets as you have your own personal time, because you do have your competition, but you want to run your own race first.
So you wasn't really thinking about targets.
I was more or less more concerned about not going out too aggressive.
Okay, so can I say like he was somewhat invisible to you?
No, not invisible. I would just say my personal time. I would say my personal time was about 65%. Whoever was in front of me at that point was 35%, more or less. So, because at the end of at this point, you have 11 miles to go. So you have like 5 or 6 parishes to run through. So it's very early, and you don't want to panic at that stage. So if you have mile markers that you want to hit goal times, select pace, go with that. And then you make that transition from time to competition, more or less.
Right. So you didn't have really any thoughts on when you saw Tyler up front. That just, is it just a thing like, okay, I see him and that's it? Or
Yeah, it was more or less that at some point I was more or less thinking at some point towards the end of the causeway start to generally reel in and then look for first, which was Chris.
I guess that's what I'm looking for. It's like just like that word that kind of summarizes that feeling, because as a video player, and that's how I adjusted it. It goes back to that. So you want to be able to talk about it. You have first Marshall, first Tyler, it's got him in the sights, and then it pans right across to you catching it. And you want to be able to kind of describe that in a couple of words or a phrase, like in other words, in motion, like to be able to describe how you might have felt in court. If there was a word, or if there wasn't anything, then it wasn't anything. No,
at that point, for me, I want to say I've run this race at least a dozen times, and I'm only 30. So I've been, my first May 24, I was 16 years old, his age.
Right.
And so over the years, that sometimes you're going to reel guys in towards different spots. So my basic thing, the first 3 miles, do not panic.
Right.
Run strictly off of your goal pace. Like it might be 6 minutes a mile, 5:30. That's your goal pace. 3 or 4 miles.
Right.
At 4 miles, 3 or 4 miles, that's when you say, okay, no gaps.
Yeah.
So at the first 3 miles, whatever your set pace is, stick to that. Don't let anyone deter you. Don't let them slow you down, make you sort of draw you out to their pace, because everybody's a different runner. Some guys can attack the first couple of miles and then just cruise. Right. Other guys have to gradually warm up, so to speak. And that's more or less with me. With me, I have to go out at my set pace and then.
So you're similar to the guy who came third?
Stephen Allen was very much back in back.
Last year, he seemed like someone that just kind of led you as fast.
Now some guys have to warm up, or you might just be the type of runner that if you expend too much energy early in these stages like that, it can really come back to haunt you. I would put it like this: if you go out 10 seconds too fast within the first mile or two, it can cost you 2 or 3 minutes at the end.
Right. Okay. So right here, you're running next to. You're running next to Tyler. Sometimes the bicycle racing, you think about the person. Sometimes the person's invisible, and sometimes you don't talk. It's just.
At that point, I was actually.
Were you thinking about him? Was there any?
I was glad that he was with me, because he acts as a chase pack, so the peloton, so to speak. So when you're working with someone to sort of pick down someone else, like Chris was out there doing it on his own, more or less. Tyler and I was hoping, okay, him and I draft one another or run side by side for even a few miles, to pick down on some time.
So can you say he helped to establish the pace?
Yeah.
And so now, next thing is, here. The next scene is when, here. Now you blacked him. Now, is that because obviously he wasn't able to keep up with you, or you thought, like, you know what, I need to drop him? What were you feeling when you were going up?
It was pretty much dead on pace for me. Like I said, the first 3 miles was on time, and I was spot on 5:20, 5:25 a mile. So it was more or less, I guess, held the pace, and he dropped off slightly. Now I wasn't sure as far as how far back he had dropped, but I didn't want to look back that early in the stage, because it wasn't no need to panic, more or less. I was just thinking, okay, maybe he can gather himself and work together a little bit more, or I have to just, I have a new target, with Chris.
So as you're approaching Blue Hill Hill, maintaining your pace, that, on the side, that's established. Like, was there any other feelings or emotions? Like, were you looking forward to seeing the crowd at the top of the hill Is Blue Hill one of your favorite hills?
But I was basically, the main thing in my mind was would I be able to digest the initial hill? That was the first major hill. And I thought mile 4 is at the top of, outside of, it used to be Enterprise variety. So I would say, okay, well, how am I going to feel at mile 4 having just done the hill?
Right, okay. See, because there's words that you're using right there, that's what's valuable. Where you just said, we are saying, like, I'm thinking, okay, can I digest this hill? And then I have the next one.
Yeah, and then you have, give or take a minute or two, literally speaking, to digest that hill and go to your next hill. And the next set of hills are very rolling, I should say. It's not as steep, but it's a long, you go up and then level out, come up some more. And so it's
okay. So to say, get that one, digest that hill to then be able to digest the next rolling hills. Because what it is, you want to be able to use those like descriptive, colorful words, but you don't want to use words that are out of context. You want it to be as true as possible to how you might say, that's not how I felt it. That's what you're talking about. I hate that type of journalism. So the next time I was able to catch back up with you was actually going through crawl. Now, for me, I thought that was kind of cool because the crawl was like
very electric. It was electric, granted. I assume this. So at this point,
so like, what was your feelings there?
Well, you expect a large crowd because it's a very residential area.
Right.
Now at this point, you're taking in 5 miles. Francis Patton marks mile 5.
Right.
Now you have a very long decline coming off of Cottage Hill. So that can work. See, when you want to push bike, you just simply range. But when you're running, downhill can sometimes be not as hard or difficult as uphill, but you have to gather yourself. Like you have to be very composed, so to speak.
So can we say that's your technique? So as the narrator, can the narrator say, okay, now Lamont is going on the ascent of Crow Hill, and he's making sure that he gathers himself, he keeps himself together. Can we? Is that something that can be described?
Yeah, because you don't want to go too fast downhill, because your legs sort of you can overrun your legs, so to speak. Like you let gravity do the work, so to speak. Like don't try to run and snowball or really hit it too hard, I should say, especially because it's like a mountain, because you're going from Fractures Hill all the way up to the top of Cottage Hill, and you're coming all the way back down, so there's no flat.
Right. Did you just say that you want to allow gravity to do its job? Is that the phrase you used? Right. Okay. Any feelings on how the crowd made you feel?
That was the one place that I expected to have that. Like I said, Phoenix, it's a very residential area. People simply got to come outside.
So, what was he feeling when you went through that atmosphere? How did that make you feel?
It was good, but it was anticipated.
Right.
I would say the initial areas that I didn't sort of assume to be more crowded. One was shocking to me. Coming off a Crow Hill, I knew in the back of my mind, you have Sleepy Hollow, My Lord's Pay, just all these residential areas. I knew for a fact you have a couple thousand people hands on.
So there's no real thought about that. It was just like business.
Not as much,
Okay.
Yeah, not as much.
Okay, cool. And then, actually, I think I cut it out of this clip right here. It was. My mom telling that story. Think about these objects. Can't inch forward copy one. Right there. Because some of the other video clips, I got you against cold, then around Shady Bay, and then right here, when you hit that water stop. Now, it's like the story that if someone asked me to create a story, And what I had written up, and I'm just kind of fudging around, I had said, Lamont's taking that drink, no, I'm not exaggerating now, right? To then take on the flatlands of Shelly Bay Beach. I mean, Shelly Bay Stretch. It's not a 10-mile road, but just trying to create something colorful. So because I know that as a spectator, when we see a runner taking a drink, is that drink going in because I've got to get up to the next one.
Well, for me,
what was your feelings?
That was water to try to more or less stretch the electrolytes. I took water at Radnor.
Right.
That was where I took Powerade. So that was the initial, the first time that I had taken in sugar.
Right.
At that Radnor, which might mark just after 6 miles.
Right.
So right here was literally around the corner.
Right.
So basically I had taken in the sugar, taken in a little bit of water to sort of stretch it out, so to speak. Because I mean, if you think about it, like let's say you have a half a cup of Powerade. If you put another quarter or inch or two of water, it just stretches it. It just dilutes it, and then you're allowed to drink
the stomach cramps.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the thought behind that. I said, taking your sugar and your electrolytes, and then natural water stuff as close as possible. Just taking a couple of sips of water.
And any descriptive words, phrases to describe, as you're about to go along.
At this point, I was thinking, I don't have any. This is sort of like a easy point, a dead zone in terms that you have no hills. It's all flat pretty much from Crow Hill right to flats. There's no hills. I mean, minor incline, minor declines, but it's sort of where you just run your own race. It's right in dead center in the middle of the race, 6-7 miles or 13. So you just want to run those straights just properly. No.
So can I say Shirley Bay is your dead zone of no hills?
Yeah.
Quick
Plus,
way of
like I said,
describing.
and hills, no crowd, it's just a area you can go through.
Right. So like right here, as we're getting along, no crowds. You're getting focused. Would it be fair for me or us to say that, because we're creating a story, that you might, as you're getting along that straightaway, you've got time to think there's no crowd, and you're not maybe preparing yourself for flats, the next challenge?
Yes, because it's both the next hill and the second half of the race. Because 7 miles would be just past Bethel Church. So you think, okay, I've run the first half, 6.5. How do I feel? Where am I? What position am I in? How far am I from first? How far is third from me? All those sorts of things are coming to your mind now as you sort of say, okay, well, it's a general assessment.
Right. Okay. Now, for me, I love this next bit. And I intentionally, actually, there's another one. I've kind of re-edited this for her. I'll explain. So, to me, in making this for her, this is where first chapter starts. Now here's chapter 2. You've reached this point. Again, we're talking about feelings, emotions, thoughts. What were your thoughts? What were your feelings as you're going through that crowd, and you know that right around the corner is Flats Hill, and that Gatorade bottle was waiting for you.
Yeah.
Like,
so that was,
what were you feeling or thinking then?
Make sure to get the Gatorade.
Very good.
What's happening, young brother? How are you doing? I'm all right. Yeah, the main thing to take the Powerade, and it's actually easier to take Powerade going uphill. So because automatically you're running slower.
Right.
So if you take a Powerade at the bottom of the hill, you're running slower. It's at about mile 7.
Right. So when you was getting to that point, were you worried that is the person going to be there?
No. I had all my stops.
Confident.
All my stops were dead smack on point, and with the water or items that were
He was confident the quality was going to be there for you.
Yeah.